So before you end the event, we say this at all the events, but it's so true. We can't do what we do without our professionals. We have to have our professional staff do what they do. We have Lori, we have Danielle, we have Seth, we have Brian. We have some great people that work behind the scenes to make all these events a success, work for you, for me, as a member, and that's golden. But we have an awesome staff, and I want to thank the professionals for all their hard work. Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and introduce our moderator for the program today. That's not going to be me. Got to save my voice today. Larry Seen currently serves as Broward Miami Board of Governor and member of the Northwest Broward. Resides in Northwest Broward. Larry is a successful real estate manager with over 15 years of experience. He previously worked for the Broward County Property Appraiser's Office. Yeah, you know the ones that raise your taxes? Yeah. Has extensive knowledge of South Florida housing market, and he also is a current real estate instructor. Please welcome Larry.
Hello, everybody. So my voice travels a little bit, so if you can't hear us over there?
They will.
Oh, closer? So now can you hear? All right. So
There we go.
there you go. Now you're really going to hear me, okay? So they asked me when I came up here, they were like, have you ever talked with a microphone before? I was like, well, I'm an instructor. I teach a lot of people, so I'm kind of used to it, right? No, I don't usually use a microphone at all, right? So we're going to have to kind of adjust as we go with my loud voice, right? Okay, so let's get started with the program. What do you guys say? Yeah. Okay. First and foremost, again, I want to just say thank you for Deja Blue to have us here today. Thank you for all the wait staff that's going to do a phenomenal job for us. Also, thank you for all our professionals here today that came and supported this event. Okay, so our today's event is going to be made up of a panel, right? And today's esteemed panels are some of the best, well-known experts on the city of Parkland, okay? With a wealth of knowledge and information that they're going to share with us, because that's why we're all here, isn't it? Right? So, I'm going to give you a quick bio on each of them, since these leaders truly don't need an introduction. First and foremost, we have Mayor Rich Walker. Mayor Walker was elected mayor of Parkland in 2020 after serving as District 2 City Commissioner since 2018. As mayor, he focused on promoting public safety, expanding local services, and ensuring sustainable growth to help build a strong future for the city of Parkland, which I think you're doing a great job. Mayor Walker also was a supporter of small business, as him himself is the proud owner of Virgin Sign Company located here in Broward County. He lives with his wife Catherine and 5 beautiful children in Parkland Isles, and is very active in this community. We are honored to have him here today. Please welcome the Mayor of Parkland, Rich Walker. It's not my feedback.
Thank you very much for having me today. It's great to see all you people out here. You picked a great place. Deja Blue is absolutely fantastic. Sabrina, thank you to all the staff. Good friends with Sabrina, so I'm glad to be here at Deja Blue and happy to talk about Parkland.
Okay, next we have Nancy Morando. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Nancy was appointed the city manager of Parkland in 2019 after serving as interim city manager, assistant manager, and finance director. She is considered an expert in strategic planning and currently oversees a team that maintains one of the lowest millage rates in Broward County here in Parkland. So if any of you guys, and all of you guys should know what millage rates are, having the lowest millage rate on your taxes is very important, right? Okay, as a long-term Parkland resident and employee, Nancy has seen firsthand the city's tremendous growth over the last 10 years. and we can all attest to that, right? From 21,000 residents to over 37,000. So please welcome City of Parkland City Manager Nancy Morando.
And it's worth repeating the fact that Nancy is an expert. She's able to keep our millage rate one of the lowest in Broward County year after year. Before being the city manager and intern city manager, Nancy was in the director of financing. So she's had her hands in our budgets and our finances for several years. So kudos to her and her team to ensuring that Parkland continues to have one of the lowest millage rates in Broward County. Very proud to say that. Obviously, as the mayor, keeping your millage rate low is good for re-elections. So I'm always happy to say that.
All right, finally, we bring us to a person that many of you will automatically recognize. He's going to be our third panelist, who is here with us today. He is a seasoned real estate broker in the Northwest Broward area. He is extremely knowledgeable about Parkland and the surrounding areas. He is not only a current Broward Miami Board of Governor, but he also served as the 2016 chairman of the Miami Association of Realtors, serving over 60,000 members. Put your hands together for our very own Mark Sadek. Now, with our panel fully up here, what do you guys say? This is an impressive group, right? Yeah. We're only putting the best together for you guys, to give you guys a wealth of knowledge and information about what's going on in the city of Parkland. So let's get started with this program. We will begin with Mayor Rich Walker. Mayor Walker, can you please give us the latest updates on the city of Parkland and any other key highlights that you would want to go over?
Sure. Parkland's extremely busy. And like we said, Parkland's grew dramatically over the past few years. One of the things I'm most excited about is...
You want to try this one?
Yeah. Let me try this one. Or that one. Maybe this. So, one of the things I'm most excited about, last year's strategic planning, one of the things we've always talked about. So I'm going to try this one. Okay. So hopefully we won't have any issues. Strategic planning is what we do as a commission every year to go over a plan of action for the following year. Last year we talked a lot about branding. One of the things we don't have in Parkland is a true logo. Right now we use our city seal as our logo. So again, we don't have a logo, we don't have a color scheme, and we don't have a tagline. So what we started to process this year is we hired a company that's coming in, involving our community, and talking to our residents to see what values they hold, what they feel about Parkland, what they think about Parkland. And what ultimately will come of that is a logo, a tagline, and a color scheme. With that, once we have that, we can start doing merchandising, we can have signage, we can do a lot of different things throughout the city to bring our city together. Because right now, if you drive around our city, it's a little bit different. Over here, it's a little bit different. Over there, it's a little bit different. So one of the objectives, at least in my opinion, is what will happen is we're going to bring the city of Parkland, east, west, north, south, together as one community. So I'm really looking forward to that process. You want me to talk more? Or?
Yeah. You can keep going.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hello.
Yeah. I'm going to give you this one. let's try this.
Yeah, we don't want to pass the wired mic. It's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. It's good now.
There's two. There's two wireless. Can you hear me?
We can hear you without the mic.
Without the mic is better? I have a pretty loud voice. One of the things I do want to share because, as you know, as realtors, the most important thing is how much am I going to pay in taxes? So as you had heard, we do have one of the lowest millage rate in all of Broward County. We're at 4.29 mils, which in realtor terms, it equates to $429 for every $100,000 in value. But one of the interesting things, and a lot of times homeowners don't really grasp this, but the more value your house is, the more you're going to pay in taxes. So that's why Parkland has higher taxes, is because your home is worth more. Now, there are some unique communities in the city that back in my day didn't do this, but this is now like a new trend probably moving forward. When they go to develop a development, what they do is they have a water district that comes in and starts to create the infrastructure. So they're putting in the water and the sewer infrastructure and the roads. So that infrastructure can be bonded as a debt service payment tied to every homeowner. So what you may see on some of the tax bills is a non-ad valorem special assessment that can be as high as $4,000 that people had no idea about. So the best thing, whatever community you're looking to sell in, make sure that you're comfortable going on the Broward County Property Appraiser site. As you all know, it's a wealth of information. Take a look, especially those non-ad valorem special assessments, because you're going to see all the different fees that are charged, so the homeowner won't be surprised. And of course, when they go to buy the home in the development, the developer should reveal all this information, and somewhere in those hundreds of pages of paperwork, it is in there. But a lot of times they don't really make that connection until they get that tax bill, and guess what? I get the phone call. So that's where we are on taxes.
Or sometimes I get the phone call.
Or he gets the
So
phone call.
let me shed some light on that, right? Because I did work at the property
Yes.
appraiser's office, right? They tell them to call you.
And it's true, the property appraiser has absolutely nothing to do with taxes. All they do is set your just value, and then we do what we do behind the scenes, and they will say there's many taxing authorities that it makes up your tax bill. And the city is only 22% of your overall tax bill, so we're even a small portion of that tax bill.
So what about the future development?
I have, I actually wrote down all the information, so I'm going to share with you what our current development is and where there's potential to sell homes, because I know it's so hard in this market to make that determination. So one of our bigger developments is called Parkland Bay. So it actually butts up to the Everglades, and it's made up of 552 lots. So currently, all of the homes are under permit, so they've all been permitted. There's 126 under construction and 35 not sold. So there's still availability, and that's called Parkland Bay. The houses probably at this point, I wish I could tell you what they would run for, but it changes week to week. It's probably north of 1.5 at this point. Even our median home value is at $885,000 in Parkland. And I can't believe this. I had my finance director check the number twice. That's up 28% from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine? I'm shocked.
So since we have a real estate expert here, I wanted to ask Mark, what are your thoughts about this? What have you seen the change in development specifically over the last 2 years, right?
Absolutely. And Parkland Bay is a great example of something that just kind of appeared on us. We didn't really see it. And when we look at it as realtors, as brokers, as managers, and we look for opportunity, it came in. And when did it come in? You think about COVID and timing and issues with builders and product, and we have our own, some of our own associates are under contract to build there. They're going from one home in Parkland to there. Why? And why Parkland? Because when we sometimes think as realtors, is it a one-size-fits-all? Parkland absolutely is a one-size-fits-all. It has something for everyone. Parkland Bay is just one. You have Lennar with the Four Seasons that's kind of winding down. And when that first came out, and that was also before COVID, way before, 55 plus, single family home concept, and people would come to us and say, are they crazy? 55 plus in Parkland, all the way out there, who's going to go there? Well, take a look at the values now. They open the doors at probably about 460,000, and right now, you're going to see 800. You're going to see $1 million. So why? It's great, and again, it's giving an opportunity. And over the years of seeing the different dynamics, what I've noticed is, and how do I get my information? All of you, all the realtors, not just my own, but all the different transactions that we have together. We speak to each other, and that's how we learn. And if you haven't sold in Parkland, you hear the average price compared to some other places. You hear about the millage rate, which a lot of people don't realize. It's when you think about affordability and taxes, and it plays a huge role. You want to be in Parkland, and it's an easy sell, and it's going to continue. So when you hear about the other developments, so what I would just encourage everybody is to really do your homework, and at a time when it's so hard to find for buyers, you'll find it because you have new construction. So why not sell it?
Thanks, Mark. That really does shed a lot of light on some of the things that we were all kind of wondering. But this question is for the mayor. Mr. Mayor, you said a little bit earlier on that you guys haven't really done any branding or marketing for the city of Parkland. So what do you contribute to the growth of the city? Because our city manager said, 28% growth. That's a huge number, right? So if there's no marketing towards it, then what's contributing to all this growth in this city?
A big thing is our school system. Our school system, A-rated schools across the board. Elementary, we have 3 elementaries, A-rated. Middle school, A-rated. High school, A-rated. The new charter school, Somerset Parkland Charter Academy, same thing. That school just added. So a big success to young families, and we've seen a lot of young families coming into Parkland, and it's attributed to schools. You're able to pay a little bit more for your home because now you don't have to necessarily pay for private school unless that's something you're looking for. So, where somebody's willing to pay $600,000 for a house, maybe I'm willing to pay $700,000 because, especially if you have people coming from New York and New Jersey. I came from New Jersey 8 years ago. Main reason I chose Parkland was because of the school system. So that's a huge factor for me. When I chose to move down here, I decided to pay a little bit more for my house because I knew I wouldn't have to send my children to private school, because it's difficult to find all 3 levels of school A-rated. Coral Springs got elementary might be good, and middle school maybe. So it's different to get, to run the gamut, and that's what Parkland's able to provide.
And Jay actually touched on that as we were mingling, and we talked about him coming from the east, and he said, I've got so many friends out in Parkland. He's got younger kids, and especially since COVID, where people needed more space, and we joked around that 1,500 square foot home on the east and what it's worth today, look at what they can get here in Parkland. And if they build, they can actually pick and choose what they want, all the finishes. And then the schools, and are they going to save the money on the private school and put it into their home, where their home is still an investment? So.
No, and that's true for supply and demand, as we all know. It's just there's no supply out there. So our developments are new developments, so that does pull people wanting something new. So as the developers are being very lucrative in this current market, that it keeps just pulling people in. And I actually have a son who's 29, and I feel for them because they can't buy a house. Unfortunately, they're now in the 600s, and for young people to buy a house your first time, they've been married a year and a half, they're going to strap themselves. So I know it's all good when it comes to the finances, but in practicality in our everyday world, it's tough. And that is something that we need to be concerned of for our younger population. and I have big concerns too. But with that being said, two of our communities are 55 plus. One of our big concerns as a city was the school system. So Broward County is not building any more schools. So what does that mean for Parkland? Kids can get bused. They could potentially be moved out of Parkland for schools because the eastern schools have available seats. So they have this whole program where they're not going to open any new schools until their seats are filled, or they close their schools. So what does that mean then to a new homeowner coming in? Could they be moved out? So we've dealt real closely with trying to do some charter schools. We also try to partner with the school board. Again, it's a totally separate agency that you may be aware of. So with the school board, they do their own millage, they have their own assessments, and what we're trying to do is we had our developers work with us to give money for them to expand on our current schools, because we know how important it is for Parkland kids to stay in Parkland schools. So that is another area of focus that our commission, our mayor has drilled to us, is to make sure that we keep our kids in our schools. And we do have very good schools. Do we have very good schools because the Broward school system is better here than there? No. The Broward school system is the Broward school system. You have good schools because you have parents that care. You have parents that work with the children every night on their homework. You have parents that are involved in the schools. You just have a caring community that is very interactive with the success of their child. So that is some of the great things that I see in our city, and I'm very proud of our city for that.
Well, we talked about a little bit about the growth. We talked a little bit about the schools, right? I guess the next obvious point that we're going to have to talk about is the support services that come along with everything, right? I've seen a lot of new construction on or rebuilding or refacing of some of the plazas and stuff like this beautiful plaza that we're in right now. How do we support all the new homes that were built, right? Because that's major growth, 28% from 21,000 over a 10-year period to 37,000. How are we in the city of Parkland working together with all the commercial industry to move this forward as well?
So one of the things with Parkland is we don't have a large commercial community, but we have a tight, robust commercial community. Our Parkland Chamber and our businesses work closely together to ensure that we're providing the services that the residents are looking for. So from a business standpoint, it's just a matter of keeping residents engaged in our businesses to make sure they're successful in whatever their endeavors are.
Oh, do I? Okay. Can you hear me? So something that's interesting in our city, we're only 3.1% of our land use is commercial. So we are not a place where people come to shop. We're very fortunate to have this beautiful restaurant, and we do have 4 commercial plazas. From a financial standpoint, I wish we had more commercial. It does affect the overall ability to sustain in our long term once we're at build out. But with that being said, we appreciate our commercial, and we're going to do everything we can to help them succeed, because it is a tough economy. And we do use our fellow neighbored city, Coral Springs, to do a lot of our restaurants and our shopping.
That's amazing. So we're so close to Coral Springs, and we see that their commercial district butts up right against the city of Parkland. So it's like a perfect storm that comes in, right? You can drive 5 minutes that way and go to any restaurant you want, literally any restaurant. Mark can tell you a little bit about that, because we've had extensive conversations about some of those. But when we talk about all the developments that are here, the services, the social services that are within the city of Parkland, I know this firsthand, right? My wife and I, we live in the city of Parkland. My son, he trains right there at Pine Trails Park. So what you were saying about having that community is 100% correct. And I wanted to get Mark's take on this, because I know he's he's been around this community for a very long time, and how this differs from everything that's surrounding it.
Well, again, when you mention to a customer and you think about where they want to go, when you say Parkland, it's not it's not a hard sell. And then you talk about where, and people may say, well, oh, but it's so far north. Well, I will tell you, people move here and build here because they want to be here, and it's not uncommon to have people from here driving to Miami because it's worth it. They'll make the drive, they'll make the sacrifice, and they will go. So they're not worried about, well, if we want to go to they want shopping and they want to go where it's busier, they can go to Coral Springs, they can go to Boca, they can go to Coconut Creek, which has a beautiful outdoor plaza as well, and restaurants and shops and a movie theater. So again, I think their mindset is they're coming here for it exactly the way it is. And then the neighboring cities, and there's such great collaboration between them. We have a very good relationship with the mayor of Coral Springs, and every conversation, every time we've met with him, we always talk about Parkland. There has to be, because it's almost like they complement each other. So it's, again, not a difficult sell to your customers. People coming from the Northeast. Now we have people coming from California. They're renting and waiting because they want to get into Parkland. So again, it's just knowing what it was built to look like, and it is, and how it's actually getting nicer and nicer and nicer. And you look at the little roundabout, if you came down University, that is not that old, but it really makes a difference because now you're not having cars come flying through, and it makes people feel like, yeah, I'm still in a smaller community, and if I, again, want to go to get something, I can go here, I can go there.
We're the suburban community where people can come, they can go to school, they can go to the parks, they can hang out with their friends and their family, and like you said, if you want to go shopping, you want to go to dinner, you can come to Deja Blue, and we have some other restaurants, but you can also go to, you can go to Coral Springs, and you can get, whatever you want, or Boca. But again, you come in here, it's a different feel, it's
And Mayor
home.
Walker, don't forget to mention the farmers market.
That's right. Yes. I mean, we have absolutely amazing events. I mean, our farmers markets, our movies at the park, we have events after events after events. That's one of the things as a commission and city staff want to make sure people get that hometown feel. We always talk about that in strategic planning. What is the hometown feel? Well, it's a farmers market. It's a movie in the park. It's Eats and Beats where we do live bands and we get food trucks and people just hang out on the lawn at the amphitheater in lounge chairs, just listen to music, and kids run around and play. So it's a little bit different where we have those opportunities because we have a lot of space, we have a lot of parks, and we put time to make sure our events are what our residents are looking for.
So Mayor Walker, I think your branding has grown organically. So
It 100%. I mean, now it's just a matter of knowing what it is, seeing what it is, and letting everybody else see what Parkland is. Because right now we all know what Parkland is. If you live in Parkland or you know about Parkland, you know what Parkland's all about. But now the branding opportunity lets us tell everybody else what Parkland is, so people can say, I wish I could move to Parkland, or I'm going to wait and live somewhere else or rent so that I can buy in Parkland because that's where I want to be, because Parkland is the city to be in South Florida. Loxahatchee, anybody who knows Parkland knows what a terrible road Loxahatchee is. That road will start construction at the end of this year, working with FDOT, Broward County, Broward MPO, and obviously the city of Parkland. It's a $24 million project that's slated to start at the end of this year. The entire road will be redone. There's going to be bike lanes, a sidewalk on the south side. Some of the areas will get medians. There'll be roundabouts at Parkside Drive, Nob Hill, and the other one.
There's two others
Yeah.
on Loxahatchee.
Right. So, I mean, we're excited. That's probably going to obviously not finish construction until 2024, 2025, but that's going to really cap off, one of the deficiencies that Parkland has had with Loxahatchee Road. And we're now going into strategic planning. We have a 36-acre park, which we're going to begin discussion on. So we're going to have a new park coming online in the next few years. We were lucky enough to receive a $1.5 million grant for that. So looking forward to discussing that park as well. That's on the corner of Nob Hill and Hillsborough.
So if I can add also, in that one development we just talked about at 206 units, what we're looking at is part of that development gave the city 5 acres in that developers agreement negotiating this deal, thanks to our wonderful mayor. And those 5 acres abut the Everglades. So the city, through strategic planning, which we haven't done yet, we do that actually in 10 days, but what we're looking at doing is creating some type of educational learning environment. So our children will have a place to go to learn more about the Everglades. So we're really excited to come up with some creative idea to put out there for our residents. And then, as the mayor had mentioned, another park is coming our way, 36 acres. That's a nice chunk of land. Our children here at Parkland, most of them play sports. If I'm correct, Mayor, what's the number for our soccer league? 1,500 children are in our soccer league. So that kind of gives you an idea just how active our community is with sports. So focusing on parks, and not just for sports, also for recreation. We have trails. A lot of people bike in Parkland. So it's overall a very family-friendly environment with parks. We have a unique covered bridge that we just did another park. It's called a passive park by the covered bridge. That's another beautiful thing that we have in our community. So we're a little different in that way, and parks are the focus for our community environment.
No, I totally agree with that. And then that new 36-acre park, are we gonna have a basketball court and a baseball field? That's what my kids play, so that's really the concern. But I really do appreciate all that insight. So guys, I hope you were taking your notes down. There's 206 homes coming online soon, so we'll have some inventory very, very soon for us to sell out there, right, in this beautiful city. So I guess the next question would be, I know we were talking about Loxahatchee, right? Expanding that, and if you've ever been on that one lane one way, one lane the other way, and got stuck behind a truck, you know what we're talking about, right? So on the expansion of it, right? So now we're adding 200 more homes. How are we?
So with Loxahatchee, it's not being expanded. So it's still going to be one lane, but it's going to be a safer road. With the roundabouts, there'll be calming features, so that'll slow down traffic. You'll have bike lanes, there'll be lighting, sidewalks. So it's going to be incredibly more safe.
So we don't feel like we're falling.
That's right. That's right. But it's still going to be one lane back and forth. But I think with the roundabouts, there'll be an extra turn lane going left on 441. So that'll help some of the congestion down at the end by Wawa and Allegro. So, it's going to be a much safer road, but it's not being expanded. There just isn't enough room to add any lanes on Loxahatchee.
And I'll tell you, one thing that I recently learned that they brought into the city of Parkland is, and I don't think there are many like that, and as the parent of an autistic adult, they now have autism, I guess it's set up in the park, and if you want to elaborate on that, because I think that's tremendous.
Yeah, so absolutely. Todd, our communications director, if I didn't bring this up, we were just awarded an autism-friendly certification designation. So we're the only second city in the state of Florida with this designation, Tampa being the other city. What that means is all of our park rangers, all of our BSO, our libraries, they've been trained to help deal with children. So we worked with the University of Miami, Nova Southeastern, and the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities, which is CARD. So we're very proud of that. Our staff worked incredibly hard under Nancy's leadership to ensure that we were able to get this certification, and we're extremely proud of that. We were just awarded or received the certification at our last commission meeting a week and a half ago, and we're very excited that we were able to be to have that designation.
So, guys, let's give him a round of applause for that. They're the second city in the state, right? And that helps so much, right? So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the floor to some questions. I hope you guys don't mind. And we'll take our first question.
I was wondering, did you say there was a park for children who have autism?
So Terramar Park, we just redid the playground at Terramar Park, which is an inclusive playground.
Where is it? The address?
It's on Hillsborough.
Okay.
So if you take Hillsborough from 441 and go west, it's about 3 blocks. You pass the BJ's, you pass development on the left-hand side, and it'll be right after that.
Thank you.
Yes.
I got a question for you on the commercial development side. As obviously with growing residential population, is there opportunities for redevelopment or commercial development here, such as medical office? It looks like there's going to be a need with older communities, and as well as private schools. Is there land availability or any areas for redevelopment there? Thank you.
You want to?
So, not so much redevelopment because we are fairly new. We're very fortunate. All of our commercial and streets and stuff are in fairly good condition, unless you live in Pine Tree or the Ranches, but we'll go there another time. But what we're contending with is. Can you ask that other part? I want to make sure I answer that.
Sure. For redevelopment or commercial development, medical office.
Okay, it was the medical office. So what we do have is on Trails End and University, Broward Health purchased, actually right across the street. They purchased that corner. Yes, so Broward Health has plans to build a facility. What specific type of details they haven't revealed yet, but we'll be working closely with them. And off of that corner, there's another available, I think it's maybe 10 to 20 acres behind there, where they will probably put some office buildings. So that should be able to take care of the need. And as you see right in front of this plaza, we have a Cleveland Clinic branch. And they keep expanding. So they have taken over several stalls to continue with their facility. So that's what our future growth looks like for medical.
Has that started yet for Broward Health?
It has not. They have bought the land, and I will share they paid significantly for that parcel. And they do have preliminary plans that I did see, but then they were quiet during COVID. So I don't know. I talked actually to the CEO today, and we're going to meet to kind of get an idea of what their future plans look like.
When did they buy it?
They bought it, I think, 3 years plus ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
And also on the Cleveland Clinic note, they realize that there's a need, and you don't have to drive all the way to Weston. So you have this one right here, and you also have right at the other side of the Sawgrass Expressway. It's a pretty much brand new facility, and they've been offering more and more. They've added doctors and added a lot of programs, so you don't have to go. So it's really helping this area.
Absolutely. You got a question?
Yes, I had a question about the new development that's coming up. Is that going to be single-family homes? And who's the future?
Yes, it's going to be single-family homes, and it was GT, right, Nancy?
Yes, GT Home.
GT Homes. Nah, but no.
Wow. Wow. Well, give me one. Go ahead.
Hi, Mayor. How are you? I'm wondering about the golf course and all the issue has been around the commercial development and what is gonna happen.
Yeah. So right now, that's NSID's. They currently own that property, so nothing's come before us. So until they sell it or decide what they want to do with it, and it eventually comes before us, it's hard to really talk exactly what is going to happen to it until NSID decides exactly what they're going to do with it. Because when they sell it, if they sell it, that developer at some point will have to come before the city to have discussions as to what may or may not go there.
And the city and the commissioner have the ability to stop something that is not fit for the community?
We have the ability to control what goes there, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Awesome.
I've been a Parkland resident since 2001. I've seen a lot of positive changes. Mr. Mayor, you continue the tradition. You're doing a great job. Thanks for positivity and awareness. My question is, I guess it's Loxahatchee and Nob Hill. Is there any building opportunity for that land by the charter school, adjacent to the charter school? That whole, it looks like a preserve, farmland.
Oh, across
the
street. So that's Hendrick's Farm.
Yeah.
So that's just under 800 acres. So he owns it. As of now, there's no desire for him to sell it. It's currently not in the city of Parkland. It's in unincorporated Broward County. So that obviously puts a little wrinkle into what ultimately will happen there. Who buys it? Who knows? But until someone buys it or the existing owner decides they want to come into Parkland, it's hard to talk about what could potentially go there.
Thank you. We also have two other parcels off of Nob Hill and Hillsborough. One is the school board's parcel, because when we had development happen, we made sure we earmarked land for schools. So the school board owns a big chunk of that corner property off of Nob Hill, and on the other side of that property is going to be where the 36-acre park is.
Anybody else have any questions? Oh.
Jay.
Stand up.
Thank you very much for the information. I don't live in Parkland, but I'm a huge fan of the community. And I am from the east side, so we do a lot of sort of reciprocity of moving people over to your neighborhood here. But it's obviously without its challenges, obviously, and I'm hearing it from all the panelists here. The growth rate is obviously exponential, and obviously there's an inventory challenge to that. Even with the new community coming at 200 to 300 homes, you're growing at almost 1,000 residents, per month, basically over the last year, 20% growth, which you should be committed on. Is there another opportunity to go vertical, where some of the other other neighbors, like Coral Springs, and to your south, and even obviously on the east side, where we can't expand, obviously we have no land to expand, so we actually have to go vertical to accommodate the supply and demand problems that we have on the east side.
So,
Yeah.
Mayor Walker, let me just repeat that for them in the back so they can hear you. So Jay asked a great question. He wanted to know if there's any opportunity to go vertical instead of horizontal on any development. So I'm going to let Mayor Walker take it.
I think one of the unique features of Parkland is that we're single-family home residents. With some land, I know in Florida it's tough to have land in general, but I think that's one of the unique features that we have here in Parkland. And personally, I wouldn't see much opportunity for us to go in that direction.
Can I piggyback that question?
Sure.
It's just a challenge of respect.
Yep.
You're about to create this entire brand around Parkland. It does not seem that Parkland needs to be exponentially resold to the community that it can't supply the supply and demand to come, right? You've got people bursting at the seams that want to live here already and not leave. And so, to me, where then do you find the ability to grow?
So I think the branding is not a marketing tool, where it's a tool to allow the residents to know who we are. What is our identity? Because right now we have an East Parkland, we have a West Parkland, we have New Parkland, we have Old Parkland. We have a lot of different, titles that people use what they are. So I think this is going to give us an opportunity to be one Parkland, as opposed to what we are now. So for me, that's the biggest challenge and the biggest, success of this branding campaign is going to be just that. It's going to bring us all together.
One Parkland is the answer.
And also, being a fairly new city, and we see this in Coral Springs, we saw this about 10 years ago, the generations, now the next generation and people having the option. So the 55 plus gave them the option to stay in the city. They want to be near their kids and grandkids. They don't have to drift too far. And now there's next generations, which is going to hopefully give us more supply. And also letting people know that have been here for a very long time what their homes are worth, really letting them know that's on us. And are there places for them to go? Yes. And getting more people to come in. And one of the things I remember when I first came to the area was that we also have some equestrian. And that's a big, beautiful part of what makes Parkland what it is, because people didn't want to go all the way to Wellington to be able to do that and have the kids go and have lessons. And it's really nice. So I think, again, if we look at the older, what's there, and getting the generations to keep going, we can probably have a good next 4 or 5 years that people keep coming in.
So I want to jump in one question for you guys, and this is for all three, and I would like to hear from all three of you guys on this. For all of us that are looking to sell Parkland, right? It doesn't come without challenges, right? It really doesn't. When you think of beautiful South Florida, you think about the beaches, like Jay was saying. You think about so many different things. So what advice would you give any agent that wants to sell Parkland? And how do you overcome that adversity, especially with the beach?
I learned this from one of our legendary realtors who started selling lots in Parkland at $10,000 an acre. And her uncle was the one who gave her the idea, and he said, there's this place, and it's in North Broward, and there's land, and go sell land. And his daughter is here in the room today. He's in his 90s and still very, very sharp. And what I learned at that time was that tap into the new developments. So many realtors were not establishing themselves when the communities are built. Go right in and establish those relationships and get involved. And if your kids are older, then look at things that you can do to support the local teams and the schools. They need help, as all the schools do. As Nancy said, the difference in the schools is the parents being so involved, but the teachers also need help, and to keep those great teachers coming. So what I would say is, as a realtor, you're coming in, you want to know about it, but really get into the new communities and start building those relationships, and that can last you forever. It can take you through your whole career. Our person did. It was a 40-plus year run in Parkland, which is huge.
Mr. Mayor?
I mean, that was a great answer, and that was coming from somebody who knows real estate obviously a lot better than I do. I find there's obviously adversity everywhere, but Parkland sells itself. We have the schools, we have the parks, we have the amenities, we have the family events. We're right here on the Everglades. You can go to the beach. You can pretty much do whatever you want. Not every city has the ability to say that. So while these times are challenging because it's hard to sell, there's a lot of people giving different offers. The one thing that I guess will always be stable is the fact that people will always want to move into Parkland, and it's our job as an elected official and city manager to make sure we keep Parkland up. We have to keep Parkland what it is today, and we have to continue to improve upon every piece that we can, and we're taking those opportunities, and we're not staying still. We're here to make sure Parkland stays the preeminent city in South Florida for at least as long as I'm mayor.
Ditto to all those wonderful words. But no, obviously it's a family-friendly community. That's our main focus is family, schools. And again, I do believe that it does sell itself because those who are looking for that environment will come here. instead of us having to go get them, and they are coming here. So again, it's just maintaining, we use this funny word called country elegance, and it always comes up in our strategic planning session. What's country elegance? Can you define it? So we want to be able to maintain that hometown country elegant feel. And really that is one of our strategic challenges, is to keep that feel. Because again, we do have two different sides of our city. One side is as east and one side is west. And the eastern side, you can purchase 2.5 acre lots, and you can have ag exempt on that property. You can have horses, you can have cows, and we do. So we have that element, and that's the old original Parkland. And it does connect to the equestrian center, which is also part of that. So we're trying to preserve that country elegance feel, even with all the new developments coming in. And as we all know, new developments have this new modern twist now. So we're trying to kind of, as the mayor said, is our branding is to pull us together as one Parkland.
That's a great answer. Thank you, all of you guys. Go ahead.
And lastly, to give honor and credit to a city that endured something that should never, ever, ever have to happen again. And I'm sure there's people in this room that experienced that, or it was touched to them, and we were there that day. So for a city to get through what they did and be able to still thrive, and people still want to come, and seeing the kids of the city pulled together and fight and be there to support. You didn't have people just selling their houses and leaving and saying we're giving up. They said, no, we came here and we want to be here, and we want to make it safe for the next generation and the next one. So that's a huge credit to the leaders to be able to do that.